In this video, I'm going to give you the advice you need when picking an intermediate line. I can't even say it. Can't say that line properly. Picking an intermediate. It's because advice you need when picking an intermediate. Okay. In this video, I'm going to give you the advice you need when picking an intermediate fly line. Okay, what's up guys, welcome back to another video. My name is Rhys. I make fly fishing videos and tutorials that will help you catch more fish. So if this is your first time here and you would like to learn more, please press that red subscribe button, smash that bell so that you don't miss out on future videos. Today we're talking about intermediate lines. So I regularly get asked on a private message, what line do you recommend? What line should I buy? What is the best line out there? And quite understandably, because there are so many lines to choose from. Some are great, some are not, some are overpriced, some are cheap as chips, and some lines are better suited to some jobs than others. So why do we fish intermediate lines? Well, you've obviously got your floaters which sit on the top, you've got your sinking lines which sit on the bottom, but for small still water fishing, you will regularly need a line that sits right in the middle. And after all, that's what an intermediate is. It's in the middle of something. So across the last 4 years of fishing small still waters, across Wales, Scotland, England, I have generally found that I'm never really fishing more than 15 foot of water. And within that, you're normally looking at about the top 8 foot of water for where the fish are sitting on a regular basis. So with that being said, there's something about us as still water anglers trying to keep our flies in that water column for as long as possible. And that is where these neutral density intermediate lines come in handy. So before I tell you about the 3 lines that I use, I just want to cover off one quick thing. There are many lines out there, tons of them in fact. And I haven't tried every line, so it's not to say that there's one line out there that is better than the ones I'm going to recommend to you today. What I am going to recommend to you is lines that I have confidence in. So like any piece of fishing gear, budget is going to be the first question. What can you afford? The lines in front of me here vary in price, but I think lines are one of those things where you should be spending the money. So line number 1, this is a really niche category. We're looking at a line that just sits below the surface. So like a Hoverline, for example. We've all been there when you're fishing a floating line and let's say, for example, you're fishing a washing line and the fish just don't seem to want to commit to the flies, but the minute you drop down just ever so slightly in the water column, it's like the fish just can't say no. And that is precisely where your hovers and your really slow intermediates come into play. Now my go-to in those scenarios is an Airflow 7 to 8 weight SS slow intermediate. It's got a 46 foot head and a 74 foot running line. It's made with a braid core as opposed to mono, which basically means it will hold less memory than a monocore and it's a far more sensitive line. So it has 2 contrasting colours at 10 and 20 feet, and this will help you in different ways. It will help you with identifying when to hang your flies, and secondly, it will help you with identifying when to start lifting off the cast. And the most important part for me is its sink rate. So this sinks at 0.5 inches per second. So if you chuck at a full line, you can be guaranteed this line is going to keep your flies very high in the water, but just enough below the surface where that sweet spot is. So in terms of methods to use with this, you'd fish an apps, you'd fish a lure, you'd fish a washing line, 2 fabs, anything where you're just inching things back very slowly. In terms of cost, this line I think is about £45 right now, so it's not an expensive line. It's in that kind of mid-price market which you would expect it to be at, being an Airflow line. So next up is a glass line. If you've never heard of a glass line, they're called glass lines because they're clear. That's all there is to it. It works exactly the same as the previous line. It is an intermediate. So glass lines are amazing if you're fishing over spooky fish. If you think about a glass line is fantastic in overcast conditions. Why is that? Well, if the fish is sitting below the surface, say 5 foot down, and you're fishing this glass line at a top foot of water, in overcast conditions, it's far less likely to see the silhouette of a glass line than it is, say, a line like this. So with that in mind, that in essence should increase your chances around spooky fish. On the opposite end of that, if it's bright sun, the sun is going to beat down on this glass line and reflect off of it much greater than it is on a line like this. So if it's sunny, you want to stay away from glass lines and fish the more conventional lines like this. So for the last 2 months, I have been loving this line. This is a Vision Still a Maniac Clear Intermediate. It has a 43-foot head and a 64-foot running line, and Vision are the first to introduce something different. They've attached a micro ring on the end of the fly line. Having used it for a while, it's a low stretch line. It's spot on for fishing worms. If you're trying to keep your worms high in the water, or your lure for example, then this is a line I would recommend you buy. So price wise, we're going up a bit now. This retails at £75, still staying within that mid price, but probably on the upper bracket of it. And then finally, a fast intermediate. So you need to get comfortable fishing fast intermediates and find one that works for you, because as a small stillwater angler, you will spend a lot of time fishing with one of these. Now, in my opinion, fast intermediates are too fast to fish nymphs, buzzers, anything slow. The purpose of a fast intermediate is literally to pull lures or pull something very fast, whether that be blobs, fabs, worms, lures. That is the bread and butter of why you fish a fast intermediate, and you won't go far wrong with a Rio Aqualux. So I was put onto this line a few years ago by two very good stillwater anglers, Di Jones and Matthew Pate, and I haven't looked back since. This line is an absolute powerhouse. So it's a 30-foot head with a 70-foot running line. It comes with two different colours. You've got the transparent at the front and the blue at the end. The difference in the colours represents where the head ends and the running line starts, and why this line is so good as a casting tool. It has a really aggressive 6-foot front head, which just helps you deliver a full line with quite a lot of ease, if I'm honest. The Rio Aqualux sinks at between 1.5 and 2 inches per second. So this line is deadly if you're ever trying to target that 2-foot to 6-foot water collar. Price wise, this comes in at £75, so you're still within that mid-market price. Now these days there are lines that are over 120 quid. I'm never going to buy one of those lines. So those are the 3 lines that carry me through an entire small water season. Now I hope you found this video useful. If you did, let me know in the comments below. If you've got a request about a review of a line that you want me to talk about, let me know in the comment section below. If you're not subscribed already, please consider subscribing and smash that bell as it helps the channel grow. My name is Rhys, thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video. So these are my 3 lines. So before I go into I'm going to cover a thing. In this video, I'm not going to show you anything. Why am I keep saying show you?